Adam Collins, Michael Vaughan, this is Cricbuzz Chatter. Let's put it in the words of the great man Ashwin, who just tweeted, Test cricket is king. It absolutely is, Vaughanie. What an astonishing run chase from England, hauling down 277 thanks to a wondrous partnership between Jos Buttler and Chris Woakes.
Yeah, and when you think when Ollie Pope got out, the pitch had exploded. That ball that he got was an absolute brute. No one in this ground, there's not many of us by the way, but not one person in this ground. I think there's 378 didn't think England had a chance of winning the Test match. But what Chris Woakes and Jos Buttler decided to do is play the one-day game. Woakes went leg side and thought, I'll just fling my hands at anything just on off stump and outside. Buttler came out and hit Yasir Shah. Two glorious cover drives, then got the reverse sweep away. He played the one-day way. Pakistan retreated. They put all the fielders on the boundary. I think that's something that Ali will look back on and think, wait a minute, could have squeezed for that little bit longer. But what a day for Test match cricket. It's such a shame that this crowd wasn't allowed in. There wasn't a full house. The noise here would have been electric. But we've witnessed a great Test match. Full credit to both sets of players. But Pakistan, they will be, I'm sure, in the dressing rooms below. It's just having a debrief thinking, how have we lost that Test match? And Joe Root, the skipper from England, his team have managed to sneak a game and a win that really they shouldn't have got close to.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Let's step back from it a little bit. I mean, Pakistan were all over England for for every part of the Test match, but for huge slabs of it on day 1, 2 and 3. And indeed, from the start of today, they go out and make a quick 30 this morning. Yasir Shah hitting a 6 and being really annoying, really, for the England bowling attack. They take wickets in clumps. I mean, watching England and Pakistan play, they're almost mirror images of each other. They're so similar.
They are. They're the entertainers of world cricket, these two. I mean, we're very fortunate that consistent teams, obviously you want them to try and be consistent, but I actually like inconsistency because you're never quite sure which England team are going to arrive, which Pakistan team are going to arrive, so it makes it more interesting to follow. From an England perspective, I know over the last 2 or 3 days in particular I've heard whispers and rumours in the camp. They weren't happy with this pitch. It was too dry, it was too suited towards Pakistan. That's why it's such a special win for England, because if they want to become a high class Test match team, and I keep hearing this talk of being the number 1 Test match team in the world, they've got to learn how to win on these kind of wickets. So in terms of the development of the side, it's a massive cue when you think that they've won on a dry pitch, batting second, that's been a massive problem for them, bowling first. They haven't been able to win too many by doing that. A very similar game to what we saw at Henley, miles behind in the first inning, and all of a sudden the bowlers grabbed the ball last night, bowled Pakistan out. A few wickets this morning, no one gave them a chance, and then that partnership. And full credit to Jos Buttler, he is made of the right stuff. Whatever that stuff is, I'm not too sure, but he's made of it, because the mentality to come out and play that innings, knowing full well that he's dropped balls, he's missed stumpings, he hasn't had a good week behind the sticks, and then to suddenly clear that to one side and play that the way that he did for those 3 hours that he was out in the middle, remarkable mentality. He's got the right ticker.
Yeah, you mentioned, England were 107 runs behind on the first innings. Let's put that in perspective as well. Of course, they bowled Pakistan out and give themselves an opportunity, but 117 for 5. Chris Woakes walking in at number 7. He's barely made a run since that 100 against India a couple of years ago. Jos Buttler under extreme pressure after the way he wicket kept. They add 50 and 49 balls. They go on to add a 139 partnership, which is defining the Test match, but they came out and made a point, and Woakes especially, I feel. We know Buttler can play that way, but Woakes, probably a position too high ideally, but hasn't made many runs, and the responsibility he took straight away, it really did change everything.
Yeah, I'm personally going to start the Chris Woakes fan club, because I don't think he gets enough. I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't think he gets enough airtime. I don't think he gets enough social media love. Well, I'm going to start it. I'm Chris Woakes' number 1 fan. I just think he's the kind of person I'd want in my dressing room. He delivers, and he can cope with pressure, both with ball and, as we saw today, with the bat in hand. For those two players, as you mentioned, Woakes, he's been looking like he's been batting with a toothpick for a while. Jos Buttler under a huge amount of pressure. For those two to be able to cope with that this afternoon and do it with so much calmness, and I thought the way that they played the gears, they came out in 6th gear and swung the bat. They both got to 40 quickly, and then after tea you're thinking, oh, keep going with that kind of method. And Pakistan spread the field, and what they did, they played a real clever poker hand. They thought, okay, if you're going to spread the field, we're just going to knock it into the gaps, and they didn't take as many risks, which potentially would have gifted Pakistan a wicket or two. I thought their style, their calmness and their composure under a huge amount of pressure was right at the top of the tree.
Let's go into the hot spot. On a fabulous day for England in the hot spot, there's the Pakistan side of the equation. 33 overs Wokes and Buttler batted together for, not a single maiden. Do you think Azhar Ali will look back at that and say that they had an opportunity to go for the throat, they stepped back a wee bit, they let two players that can hit the ball well get into a groove, and then it was all a bit too late?
Yeah, well, you can't bowl maidens with 5 fielders on the boundary. You know, he spread the field far too widely. I thought they lost a bit of clarity in kind of working out how they were going to get both Wokes and Buttler out. They were just bowling. You could see there wasn't a real clear plan. They were getting hit both sides of the wicket. It's a lesson to Azhar Ali that as a captain you've just got to step back and go, okay, let's simplify things. Bowl for one side of the wicket firstly. So let's bowl into channel outside off stump, pat the offside. If the bowlers aren't good enough to bowl to that, well, you take them off. I just thought he allowed them to score both sides of the wicket. I thought Yasir Shah came over the wicket too soon. You know, and then towards the end when they got to like 80 required, 70, 60, the field was too spread. They had to get wickets, and there was a time that he should have brought the field in and said to Jos Buttler, all right, if you're going to play a shot, you're going to have to go over the top. You're going to have to take quite a big risk, because Yasir Shah suddenly found from over the wicket quite a lot of turn. There was a bit of bounce, and it was just that time there that Azhar Ali should have realised that and gone, I've got to dangle the carrot. I've got to try and make them hit down the ground. He allowed them to continue to sweep, and ultimately it's cost Pakistan the test match. The tactics of both teams this week were a little bit iffy. I don't think either captain had a great week, but the great week always is the one that wins, and that's Joe Root, because his team have gone 1-0 up.
Just quickly in terms of tactics, with Buttler, reverse sweeping out of the rough against Yasir Shah on what was essentially a final day pitch. Just try and give the viewers at home some sense of how difficult that is.
Well, you can't do that. You know, the rough there, it was like batting on a beach at times, particularly outside the leg stump of the right-hander, as you mentioned. It's just clear technique, complete focus, commitment to the stroke, and just getting your hands over the top of it and committed it. Ben Stokes didn't get many runs, but he did play probably the shot of the day, the reverse sweep out of the beach for 4 off Yasir Shah, I think, to get off the mark, or he might have got off the mark. It was his second scoring shot. To do that out of the run, you see shots in this era of the game which are just not possible. Certainly in my era of the game, you wouldn't even thought about playing it. Cricket is back. Let's just celebrate the fact cricket is back. Test match cricket is great. And this week, both sets of players have given us an absolute gift to watch. We move on to Southampton. I hope that the wicket's going to be similar in terms of activity for the ball, because both bowling attacks look very strong to me, and it's a series that could still be close. I just fear for Pakistan. This is a game they should have won, and I just hope they don't take all the negatives today into the first day against England on Thursday in Southampton, because we could see a one-sided contest if that's the case. They've got to clear out today, take the positives from the first 3 days in particular, and try and come back a better team for that second test match. I
was going to put exactly that to you on Fast Forward, Vaughanie. So let's wrap it up there, as you said perfectly. It's a celebration of our game, a celebration of Test cricket. England end up victors by 3 wickets, but what a joy it was. We'll see you all, of course, next week from Southampton.